Hello guys, this is Movie Lover and welcome to this Movie Lover world. Today I will show you a thriller, horror film from titled Choose or Die. Hal, a married man with a dysfunctional family who is a collector of retro video games, has received a copy of an interactive computer game called Curse R. He installs the game and begins to play, expecting it to be a classic text-based adventure game. He begins to notice that the objects around him begin to interact with the game and realizes that it is something more. When he is asked an eerie question, with the follow-up that he must choose or die, he tries to escape, but it is too late. His family has been harmed, and he has completed the first level. 3 months later, college student Kayla is working as a cleaner to pay for her studies. She provides her computer enthusiast friend Isaac with new and old technology, who in return helps her learn how to code so she can acquire enough skills for her classes. In his rundown apartment, she finds the game Curse R with a prize of grand if you survive to the final level. Kayla calls the number on the box and confirms that the cash prize is still up for grabs. With the idea of making some quick cash, the duo decides to meet up later that night to try to beat it together. At home, with the eviction notice on the refrigerator and her drug-addicted mother high on the couch, things do not look any better for Kayla. In her room, she fixes any collector's wet dream console and heads off to work. There, she wonders why she's cleaning the empty building night after night, but her coworker does not care as long as she gets paid. It's AM and Isaac still has not shown up for the arranged meeting, no wonder he's single. She installs the game all by herself. She tirelessly looks at the screen as the coffee or cake option appears on it, pointing to the menu next to the screen that has coffee and cake as only options. She shrugs it off as lack of sleep and types in coffee as the waitress immediately pours her a cup. She checks the menu and everything is back to normal. The waitress tells her she doesn't look well and needs some sleep. The same words appear on the screen and she flips the screen closed, whereupon she is surrounded by fog and a boy tells her that she must choose or die. She flips open her laptop, asking if she should take a break, and Kayla writes yes. As if possessed, the waitress begins smashing glass after glass. The game asks her if she should break more. What a joker. Her response is to clean up, so the waitress picks up a shard of glass and starts nibbling on it. Kayla pleads for her to stop, but to no avail. Level completed. Tomorrow, same time. Kayla wakes up confused. She tries to end the game by destroying the tape. Desperate, she talks to her mother, who suffers from delusions after the death of her son, and does not take her medication because it does not help her. The only medicine that works is from her neighbor Lance, who supplies her with drugs and forces her to sell herself to avoid being evicted out of the apartment. Kayla tells Isaac what happened, but he has a hard time believing her story. Nevertheless, he agrees to search online for clues about the game. Then she goes to her nightly work, and as the clock strikes AM, her mother calls, desperate for help. The lights throughout the building go out and a screen appears with the continuation of the game. The person in the minigame is her mother, screaming for help. Kayla controls the swarm of rats by choosing where to go until they spot her mother and race her to the bedroom. When the mother closes the door, there are only options, to charge or chew the door. With no way out, her mother eventually falls from the bedroom window, which completes the level. Devastated, she destroys the screen and her boss comes in firing her on the spot. Seriously injured, Kayla's mother ends up in the hospital. Kayla goes to her apartment and finds it trashed, with Chew written on the door and a hole. Later that night, Kayla goes to Isaac's apartment, begs him to believe her, and shows him pictures of the apartment. Together they try to unravel the mystery behind the game. Isaac says that there is nothing unusual in the game code itself, but sometimes game developers hide something in the sound because it is also data. They wait until AM, relaxed enough to start a food fight. The game activates and Isaac extracts the eerie sound that reveals a code, but they cannot read the symbols. He looks at the screen in disbelief as the words he thinks about the game are written, even before he speaks them. It offers a choice between help or no help. Kayla refuses to choose because she thinks it will harm her friend, but the screen flickers, and death messages appear with screeching sounds in her head until she screams help. The game tells them to look at red and blue doors and choose. Isaac says it's always a bad idea to choose red, until he tries listening at the blue door and a boy whispers die. Well, red is not so bad. They enter the red room and hear a boy's voice. It's Kayla's deceased brother. They follow his voice, which leads them to a pool, the same place where he drowned. She sees her brother get in and this prompts them to try to save him. They also go into the pool, but it's just fog. The two get separated and Kayla's brother lunges at Isaac. She hears him begging for help, but when she finds him, they are both unconscious on the ground and the game makes her choose who she would rather save. She chooses Isaac. At that moment, her brother wakes up and lunges at her, but she overpowers him and suffocates him. As the fog lifts, Isaac wakes up and they find themselves in his room. Level is completed. Hours before the next level, Isaac hacks the phone line for the cash prize and finds out the address of the game developer. They drive to the address, but find that the place is deserted. They climb over the gate and enter the house. They dial the cash prize number and hear the phone ringing in the building. There is an answering machine on a table in an empty room. The duo follows power cords that lead them into a room filled with symbols they saw in the game code. Isaac suspects that the game was made here and finds a tape, which he inserts into the reader. It's a recording of the creation of Curse. They discover that the creator of the game, Beck, found a curse in various symbols and embedded the codes into the game to gain more benefits by making the players suffer. The more the players suffer, the more the creator benefits and becomes immortal. They discover the code needed in the recording, which they have been missing, but then Beck appears on the screen and says that cheating is bad and he immediately starts level. Isaac tries to turn off the power, but instead gets trapped in a strange static place. And Beck gives her a choice between rewinding and fast-forwarding. She chooses to fast-forward, whereupon Isaac spits out a tape and Beck laughs at it. Isaac visibly suffers and even begins to bleed. Beck says that level is complete and when Kayla comes to help him, Isaac just mutters, "What did we win?" and dies in her arms. After level, the game tells Kayla to defeat the boss and gives her a set of coordinates to follow. When Kayla arrives at the scene, she gets a call from her mother, but in fact it's Lance, who says that her mother won't be able to pay the bills, so she can take her place in selling herself. This makes her angry. The coordinates lead her to the house of Hal, who is now a cruel man who tortures his wife and son. Kayla wonders if he is also a player. Hal explains that he never finished the game and after 2 levels it promised to leave them alone if he made more copies of it. If the game sent Kayla here, there cannot be a good reason for it. His wife tries to stab him but fails and his son whimpers in fear. Kayla gets a message about the boss fight and Hal is upset that she is the heroine and he is the boss. They start fighting, with Hal hitting a plate against Kayla, but he's the one who feels the pain while it didn't affect her. The game reverses the pain that each experiences. A fierce fight ensues where the son comes in with a gun and shoots them both. The wife takes over and shoots Kayla, wounding Hal even more. When Hal takes the gun, the magazine is empty. So he grabs his son's knife and cuts his neck just as Kayla jumps into the pool with a statue, causing Hal to drown and Kayla to barely survive. This is game over for Hal. And Kayla clears the game. As a prize, she receives a command prompt in which everything she writes is law. She codes into Isaac's room and makes Lance her first victim, inflicting on him the same punishment he did to her mother. All of her wounds heal. Then it turns out that the building where Kayla worked belongs to Beck, who asks her, "Who will suffer next?" Kayla replies that only those who deserve it will have to suffer. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Movie Lover will meet you again with new story till take care.